Hi, I'm Michael from Omni IT. We're a managed services provider supporting clients in the Canberra region. This is the first of a series of presentations about Microsoft Teams. We use Teams extensively internally, so this is a bit of a run around showing you how we use Teams and how we would suggest our clients use Teams as well. To start, we'll start on the left-hand side, and over the time we'll go through all the buttons on the left-hand side, but you can see Teams is the first icon that we'll choose. And you can see our structure. We have teams internally for management, for service team, for a sales team, projects. The Omni IT team is the all-staff team. We have an executive team. And for the presentation, I've just set up a little team just for myself that only includes myself. When it's bold like this, you can see there's been some activity inside that team that we probably should go and have a look at. The other suggestion would be that you could have, and we have them structured differently to how we would suggest it for yourselves. We have a list of all our clients inside another set of teams, so we can actually show them all down the bottom. If you want to, you can see some favourite teams and they can be pinned to the top. It does make use of it very easy. So I just want to cover off how easy it is to create a team, and I am going to put a word of warning in there. The more teams you have, you can very easily get out of control, so I do suggest you use a little bit of caution when you're creating teams haphazardly, and I would try and suggest to take it as a company-wide approach to your creation of teams. Just give it a name, you can give it a description if you want, and essentially, and I think Microsoft's going to thank me here in a minute, that is as hard as it is to create a team. You could go and add team members in here at this point, and it can be very easy just to start typing someone's name, and you can see all the people that even start with S, etc., or you can just skip that process. You can see when we're creating the team, we can add more people into the team. We can create more channels. Now, a channel is what general is. You can, as I said, you can add more channels there and rename them as different names. You cannot rename the general channel, but the channel is essentially what we get to see in this section here. I'm going to just quickly flip back to Michael because I've already got a bit of content in there. The posts is where you can have a chat to your team members. So you can chat about anything, about the weather, anything to relate to this team, whatever you want to talk about. Obviously be more relevant to talk about what the team is meant to be talking about. You can add files. The file section here is really what we would use these days to replace your file server. So you can have a complete file server file structure in here in the same, and realize that it's restricted to the same team members that is in this team. So all your different teams can have different sets of files with different permissions wrapped around those. So you can just create new folders, new Word documents, everything you like to use as you would normally use. And the third one that we'll talk about at some point is the wiki, but I might leave this to a different discussion because it's a very powerful part of Teams. So each team you can manage here quite simply. You can create multiple owners by adding a member and choosing to say whether they're an owner or a member. The other owners can invite other members, and the owners could get rid of you, so just be a little bit mindful about that. It's the channels. You can add multiple channels, and my comment here is just be careful when adding channels. Do you really need a lot of channels? I know we've made that mistake, create a lot of channels, and there's a lot of them we don't even refer to any longer. It's very easy to get data or information lost inside Teams. You can just keep adding things left, right and center. So just gotta be a little bit careful about how much you add. So channels, and I've said down here you can pin channels. So that's the bit that you pin up into the pin section here. You don't pin a team, but you do pin a channel. It does make it easier, obviously, to find information later on. Now you can also create links to get linked to channel, and you can do a get link to the team, I believe. Yes, link to the team, so that you can either email that to your team member or post it somewhere else, so that it's easy for you to find the channel or the team that you're working from. The second part that I really want to cover off today is the chat function inside Teams. While I've said inside the posts you can have chat, but there's a totally separate section inside chat, and again you can set up your teams, and they can be very different to the team structure that you have in here. This is the part that we use very extensively, certainly from working from home. It's just made it so much easier to keep the team together. You can very easily initiate a phone call or a video call, or you can share your screen from within inside the chat and share it with the other members that you're working with. So that's a great feature of Teams that we like. Your calendar does link to your Outlook calendar. It is your Outlook calendar. I think Microsoft's idea is Teams will become your sole interface to operate out of. It's a long way from that yet, but the calendars are appear in here. The calls, you can make calls to people inside your team. It's with extra licensing, you can actually turn Teams into a full-on telephony system, so you can make outside calls to people's mobiles, all that sort of stuff. It is very possible. It does cost a little bit. Just more than happy to have a bit of a chat to you about that. Files is really just a list of all the files that you've used in the past. Apps, there is 50, 100 more apps that you can integrate into Teams. We can cover that off in another session. And the help, quite often we use this to see what's new. So I think we click on there's a what's new feature in here, and quite often we just have a quick little look and see what new features have been added to Teams. Finally, there is a search function. When we started looking at the search in Teams, it was very limited. They have improved that massively over the last 3 or 4 months, so it's worth a try. If you don't find what you're looking for using the search feature here, in your Office 365 subscription, there is also a product called Delve, and Delve does a much deeper delve inside your whole Office 365/SharePoint subscription, and it searches all of SharePoint, including all the chats and everything inside Teams. That is something else we can cover off in another session as well. So there's a very quick rundown of Teams. The next session is on how to manage documents within your team and how they can be worked on collaboratively and how they can be shared with people outside your organisation. Thanks for listening.